Alright, got another game here in the round of 16, this time between Instant Reflex and CiC eSports. And I've just realized that the picking stage was going so fast, so I'm assuming this is a remade game, and we'll just talk about the picks once we move into the game, which is happening pretty much now. Obviously, two strong teams here, both making it around the 16 in the CiC Qualifiers, but CiC no doubt the better known team and no doubt the favorite as well in this matchup. Legion side has gone with Aluna, Bubbles, Sir Bensington, Solstice, and Swiftblade, so choosing to run the jungle strat. Hellborn are countering with their own jungler in Ophelia. And probably we're going to see something like the Swiftblade, Aluna bottom, Bubbles middle, Bensington top. Could certainly see Bensington in the middle as well. We've seen some teams run him as an initiator as opposed to a suicide, but I think a little bit better in that suicide role. Not a bad team here on the Legion side. I'm a little concerned about the amount of skill shots that are necessary. There's not too much targeting that's going to go on here. You know, the Bubbles power, the Bubbles shell surf, the Aluna power throw, joust from Bensington, the ultimate from Solstice. These are all abilities that can miss pretty easily, and Blade Frenzy from Solstice for that matter too. Maybe a little bit difficult to hit a whole bunch of, but nonetheless, this is a pretty decent team. Some strong team fight, very good gank potential, and some late game. Not quite as much as Hellborn have, in my opinion, but. Not bad at all. Well, yeah, maybe. Between Solstice and Swiftblade, they might have as much. The Hellborn side isn't exactly stacked in late game either. But speaking of them, let's talk about Hellborn here. Slither, Ophelia, Pharaoh, Rhapsody, and Devourer. So a really strong team, obviously, here. Full of picks that you would like to make early in a draft, no doubt. Looks like we're going to see Flens up top on that solo Slither. I think we're not going to see the traditional Suicide Pharaoh. Yeah, we're probably going to see Keizu in that middle lane, and instead it's going to be Mikke and Kindman on the Rhapsody in the bottom, as apparently support is not here. But Zlapt will be playing the Ophelia in the woods, very likely in the aggressive jungle, I think, based on the current setup, and no doubt going to be a strong lane, especially because the Legion side are also running their jungler and have a pretty obvious dual lane bot. So Hellborn are going to counter the Legion's dual lane bot with their own dual lane. And we'll see how they stack up. I do like Hellborn's a little bit better just because the initiation potential is better with the Dev Hook, plus the Rot preventing getaways, and of course the Rhapsody Staccatos and Dance Sword for some solid follow-up. So I'm expecting the Legion side to lose this bottom lane, though probably not particularly hard. Obviously the Blade Frenzy from Swiftblade is going to help a lot with the Rot damage from Devourers. You can just turn that on and be like, yeah, you know, you want to kill me? Too bad, because I'm magic immune. So not a bad lane for him at all, but between the fact that it's Mikke and I think that the Hellborn do have a little bit better in terms of initiation and very possibly with gank, depending on Ophelia's creeps, it's basically going to come down to, you know, if Ophelia gets strong creeps like this Minotaur, they'll have the better gank presence. If she doesn't, like say an Alchemist Ogre, then Solstice will have the advantage in the woods, but obviously they'll be competing for some farm down here, and we'll see if either of them choose to leave. Seems likely to me that the jungle probably can't support two heroes in it. Meanwhile, middle lane, we have Bubbles and Pharaoh, so no huge surprise there. Should be a relatively even lane here. Bubbles has a little bit of a harass potential advantage, but Pharaoh could potentially kill his Bubbles if he gets caught in a position. Unlikely, I think, that we'll see a kill by either side, just because it's unlikely that Keizu is going to misplay that heavily, and it's a little bit more difficult to kill the Bubbles considering how defensively he plays. Top lane going to be Bensington versus Slither. And this is a lane Bensington can definitely win. I don't expect him to because Flens knows what he's doing on this hero and should be able to effectively harass out Bensington. But in the right hands, this is definitely a matchup Bensington could go for, especially if he plays it correctly. Try and get the auto attacks off. We've definitely seen Kronos destroy a short lane Slither in the solo lane, and this could potentially be in the same vein, so I wouldn't be shocked, I think, if Bensington won this lane, but I would be surprised. Bottom lane Rhapsody deciding to go once again back to the lane, but a lot of this action's happening in the middle, or in the jungle, as Aluna is doing what she can to help Solstice farm in the woods, and he does hit level 2 here. Meanwhile, up top, got a bunch of stuff going on, and yep, Flen's in trouble. There's Bubbles. So, like I said before, wouldn't be surprised if Swiftblade enters Bensington won this lane. This is a lane that Bensington can definitely take. So there's not particularly tanky, no escape mechanism, and no really great CC tools. Stun going on both actually, and Aluna's gonna be a lot of trouble. That's gonna be one kill. We'll see if they can pick up a second one onto Solstice. It seems unlikely here, especially because Dev can't seem to get the angle for the hook, unless there's a second Minotaur stomp. Yep, Ophelia moving out of the way, going, yep, hook, no. Perhaps gonna flank here with staccato stuns. We'll see if the Minotaur stomp can actually get off. No, Solstice continuing to run away. Bubbles will come off to the side as well. Courier following him. And it looks like Solstice is going to be okay. Bubbles on a shell surf there in middle lane. Rhapsody getting real deep right here and going to be in some trouble. Takes a Solstice stun here and a power throw. Kahneman really needs to get out of here, but this is not going to be a good situation. He's definitely going to take a death. The question is, are they going to get any return kills? No, they're not. So Rhapsody diving a little bit too deep there, pursuing the Solstice, and pays for it with her life. Ends up being a 2-to-1 here with the advantage so far in favor of Illusion after the bottom and the Bloodlust and the 1v1 exchange in bot of support for support. Bottom lane Mickey here at 211 gold per minute compared to Sluda at 230. So Swiftblade in this lane, I think a lot of this is because just this Rhapsody is not being here. And it's fine, you know, certainly sort of a suicide devourer here. And having him go more or less toe-to-toe with the short lane Swiftblade is definitely an outcome that you will take. Middle lane Keizu sitting at almost 300 GPM compared to 250 from Bubbles. So Bubbles is holding his own, but not quite able to win this lane. Not a huge surprise there, as you know, Pharaoh's a melee hero, so a little bit better at CSing, a little bit better at having lane presence thanks to the Tormented Soul, and obviously not very easy to kill. Top lane Flens is only at 200 gold per minute compared to 290 from Bensington, so no doubt Bensington winning this top lane, and Flens got to be real careful here because Joust is going to be back up in a second. He only needs about 25 mana until he has it, and if he lands that Joust, that's a death. Meanwhile, bottom lane Swiftblade and Devour going at it. Rhapsody is here for backup, but here comes Solstice Stun in on top of the Blade Frenzy, and Mike could be in some trouble. We're going to see a port coming in to help out. Power Throw will help finish him off, and Pharaoh not going to be able to do too much. Haste Rune, yeah. So 3-to-1 hero kill advantage so far here for Instant Reflex, and they're off to a really strong start. Drawing the TP from Pharaoh there, obviously pretty huge, and we'll see if that actually turns anything. Up top, Flensmeister does drop once again. As I said before, she needs to be real careful. Nightfall is actually coming down on top of it, plus the double damage rune and the Lance alone. So Bubbles sort of coming in, looking for the gank, but not necessary, as Bensington now has the 2-kill advantage onto Mr. Flensmeister, as that short lane still there up to 320 GPM, highest in the game. It's never good when your opposing team's suicide is the highest in the game. So CiC gonna have to step it up a little bit here, as they're at 800 gold and 1,200 experience disadvantage. 1,400 experience, where numbers are fun. Ophelia has transitioned to her own woods. Not a huge surprise there, as I said before. Generally, it's difficult to double jungle. Stun going to be in here on to Rhapsody. Has staccatos there. Swift splashes are available, and that's going to be the death of her. So ends up being hooked back though onto Swiftblade. We'll see if she can actually survive this. Looks like he will be able to, thanks to the stun from Aluna. Dev's trying to catch up, but it's not going to happen. Nearly blocked him to death there, but a nice hook from Pharaoh will finish off Swiftblade. Traps the Aluna in. That's going to be a second kill. We'll see if they can try to finish off Solstice here, as the Hellfire is going down, and that's going to be a third kill. Bubble's going to drop the kill field as she comes in, and will end up getting the kill on the Mickey. Actually, it is Solstice, but not going to be any returns here into Bubble, so ends up being a 3-for-2, as both Rhapsody and Devourer die, but they pick up Solstice, Aluna, and Swiftblade. So a pretty strong rotation there from Keizu on the Pharaoh. And definitely a good decision, as it netted them 3 kills instead of 0. Although Solstice nearly killed Swiftblade by blocking him, which is pretty funny. Keizu all of a sudden at 400 GPM thanks to that hat trick. But Swiftblade, Sir Bensington's still farming quite well, and the rest of the game really not doing all that well. 250 gold per minute on pretty much everybody. Dev has transitioned to the middle, and apparently so is Swiftblade. Or Sir Bensington, I keep saying Swiftblade. Bottom lane, we'll see. There looks like there'll be another setup here onto Keizu on that Pharaoh. Solstice coming in from the side. No kill field available from Bubbles, but he is here. As they don't have any vision. But Keizu apparently feeling like things are not right will choose to back up. Obviously the correct decision, as he had plenty of aggression coming his way. TP coming top. It's going to be Bensington, as he is going to get some lane control back here, and figuring that's a real good time to farm. Makes plenty of sense. So, rotation here from Hellborn is probably necessary, and makes a lot of sense, just because they want to get Mickey a little bit more farm and a little bit less deaths than he's currently had. 3 assists and 2 deaths, not really the ratio you're looking for. He's going to throw a rocket there, and won't follow it up. Deb grabbing a double damage rune, looking for a hook, not going to find it. No surprise there. Bubbles is probably one of the hardest heroes in the game to hook, between the him being a ranged hero and the natural advantage that gives when you're looking for hook initiation, as well as to take cover, of course. They're going to spot Keizu here, and he's going to be in some trouble. Drops a couple of stuns and the initiation from Solstice. We'll see if they can actually finish this off. That is a kill. Hook back onto Solstice, though, and the ultimate. The Nightfall is going to come here onto Devour, plus the Bubble Shell Surf. They will finish off Solstice, but now they're looking for more turn kills. Kelfield goes onto 2 here, but the rest of the Hellborn side is up, looking for revenge. They're not going to find it, though, as the Kelfield holds them in place. Swiftblade ports in, as he's trying to prevent further aggression, and it will end up being a 1-for-1 of Pharaoh in exchange for Solstice, so not a bad trade for the Legion side at all. Net going to go down there, and Luna will actually get finished off. Hook back there onto Swiftblade, despite the Blade Frenzy. Rotdam is going to do a whole bunch, and Flensmeister Spray will help finish him off, so that's going to be 1 kill. Nice deny there from Bubbles, as he barely manages to get the auto attack, and that's one of the problems with Slither, of course, is you can deny heroes that have been poisoned. So the entire Hellborn side is here. Looks like they're going to be grouping up and pushing middle. They do have the golden experience advantage once again, as they're up about 1k in both areas. Looks like they're going to push down this middle tower. Ophelia's creeps, of course, helping out, as well as Slither's wards. Power Throw going to provide some initiation. So supplement there hits 2, and that's going to be an easy kill onto Rhapsody. No hook there. Will only hit a creep. Ends up just being a 1 kill, but we do successfully defend the tower. So nice initiation, obviously. Shell Surf going out doesn't hit anything, and Instant Reflex here is actually looking pretty solid. So we might be in for a pretty good game, because this is even right now, and they'll definitely take even at this point. The Hellborn side has a very mid-game centric lineup, and the more I look at it, the more I feel like the Legion have a late game here. I know I said the exact opposite in the beginning, but I don't think I appropriately analyzed things before I said stuff, and I do that sometimes. But so there's a strong late game carry, and that's about it. Both Pharaoh and Devour will transition well, but Solstice and Swiftblade are going to provide some serious punishment. Bubbles doesn't scale too well, but Bensington should be alright. Mid tower going to be pressure once again, drawing the glyph. Pharaoh not going to hit his hook. Actually, no, he does. Sorry, in the middle over here. Solstice is going to get trapped inside the lane walls. He's going to be the first one to go down. Kelpfield hits 4. And they're not going to follow this up pretty much at all. Swiftblade's in the bottom lane, so this is a 4v5, and that's why they're not pursuing it. Swiftblade needs to be here.
The Hellborn have destroyed a Legion tower.
I mean, they can definitely initiate and take these fights if they have 5 heroes, but without Swiftblade, they're at too big a disadvantage. Hellborn side do have a strong mid-game, early mid-game team, and they're pressing that advantage right now. Taking down the secondary mid tower. Swiftblade, you need to get back here. Thank you. Finally does show up. As Solstice is once again back alive. We'll see if the Hellborn choose to continue fighting this. They really shouldn't. So Shell Surf hits a couple there, but the port out from Flensmeister, and that's going to be it. The Hellborn will back off. Pause goes out. And I don't think I turned it on to skip pause. No, I didn't. Sorry about that. Top lane jump there by Sir Bensington, but Nuva's blessing coming out from Ophelia, and they might look to try to turn this around. As Bensington's getting pretty aggressive there. We have a couple of heroes rotating over in Devour and Ophelia, and if Benzington's not careful about this, he could see himself in some trouble. Yeah, he's definitely in some trouble. Hook there will hit somehow, and it's going to be followed up by the Devour ultimate and an easy kill. TP will be cancelled as they realize, yeah, that's just a dead Benzington. Top lane will be pretty heavily pressured here. Should go down fairly easily as the Ophelia creeps come in. And that's going to be the second tower kill of the game. And of course the second one for the Hellborn side as well. Bottom lane we got some jump here onto Aluna as Pharaoh's going to get the last hit there.
The Hellborn have destroyed
Swiftblade taking a bunch of damage actually, and he might not be super happy about this. Pharaoh instead going to back off, not feeling like he has enough to pursue. Not a huge surprise, but you know, he did a lot more damage than he probably should have considering that was a 2v1. Port back, and he'll be fine. Top lane considering continuing to be pressured here, as Mickey has left, but Ophelia and Slither continuing to jump this tower. So, at this point, it's sort of hard to figure what the game plan for each side should be. I feel like the Legion side have probably just Turtle as their strat. Ward up the jungle, play it safe. You've still got your bottom tower, and you can probably get some pretty solid farm on most of your heroes. You can get a little aggressive and a little dangerous, risky with Benzington and Bubbles because they have strong escape mechanisms and they have good gank potential, so if you can manage to pick somebody off, that'd be fantastic, but for the most part I think it's like let Swiftblade and Solstice farm. Up there onto Solstice, and he's going to be in some trouble. Mickey drops the ultimate, that's probably going to be a death there. Dancefloor goes down, easy kill. So the Warrior side here obviously paying some dividends, spotting out Solstice in that hard camp and netting them a kill. Swiftblade, you might want to leave there, buddy. Yeah. Nice, three heroes going to be collapsing on this bottom tower. Dev is going to spot Swiftblade here, though, so he's going to be in some trouble. Sagata's Suns go down, and he's going to drop the Blade Frenzy. Two ports coming in. Here comes Slither as well. Hook back, and they're going to try to get the hell out of here. Shell Surf goes down, plus the Kelphill. Ultimate from Ophelia helping out a lot. Poison Burst hits two at least, and nice ultimate from Rhapsody will stop everything. But he's going to take the aggression there, and probably will be forced to drop. No, actually survives. Nightfall will finish her off. In the meantime, the rest of the Legion side is falling. 3 dead already in Bubbles, Swiftblade, and Aluna. And Sir Benzington's going to pay for this as well. Ends up being a 4-for-1, with the only person to die on the Hellborn side being that Rhapsody. Now they're going to be a bot tower push all of a sudden, so that was a really, really good fight for Hellborn. And they just had the coordination there.
The Hellborn have destroyed a Legion tower.
And that pick off on Solstice was pretty huge, as it basically turned that into a 4v5. And they're calling GG's here, which is a little premature in my opinion, but okay. It's 9-14, and
Hellborn wins.
they're not down by that much in terms of resources, but I guess they're just feeling like, yeah, it's sinks and we're down, so I guess we're totally screwed. And maybe they don't want to like waste their time or whatever, but I don't know. It seems like a premature CC to me. I agree they're probably going to lose this game because it's sync, but they weren't really doing very badly at all. So Instant Reflex, perhaps a team to keep your eye on, as they performed fairly well against sync, and I think some more coordination, a little bit better idea of what their game plan should be, and maybe they'll be one of the better teams in the scene. But that will do it for this round of 16 matchup, and that'll move sync on to the round of 8 as Instant Reflex is knocked out.